This is the Lincoln Journal-Star editorial board interview with Deb Schorr, who is running for County Commission in District 3. Deb, thank you for joining us today. We'll hear from you in just a moment, but we'll ask our other editorial board members to introduce themselves. Kent, you want to go first?
Hi, Deb. Kent Walgamot. I write about arts and entertainment and been on the editorial board for over 10 years. So we've done this a couple times at least.
We have.
Robin.
Robin Eschliman, Commercial Real Estate Community Member Volunteer for the editorial board.
All right. Hello, Robin.
And Deb, we met at the candidate event the Journal-Star did, but I'm the editor of the Journal-Star. And so to get us started, Deb, politics these days, sometimes from the outside, don't look like they're that much fun, but you have some experience. So you probably have a thoughtful answer on this. Why do you seek office, and what experiences and attributes qualify you for it and will benefit your constituents?
Well, I am pleased to be running for re-election to the Lancaster County Board representing District 3, which is the southern part of Lincoln and Lancaster County. I have a background in banking and finance, which is certainly helpful when you're working with a multi-million-dollar budget. I had the opportunity to work for Kayor when she was governor, so I've had the opportunity to see how government works at the state level, and then was a stay-at-home mom and community volunteer, and really developed a passion for issues regarding youth at risk. And because Lancaster County does so much in the human service field, particularly with our youth at risk and our juvenile detention center, I think all those experiences in my life have qualified me to serve in an outstanding manner for Lancaster County. And I'm still passionate about the work we do. I give 100% every single day, and I'm looking forward to serving another 4 years. I think what makes me a unique candidate is that knowledge and expertise and experience that I've gained over the years. I know a lot about how county government operates. I've built longtime relationships with fellow elected officials, with our city council members, with our state legislators, and our federal delegation as well. So having those connections really help further the initiatives of Lancaster County and the work that we do to make our community a great place to live, work, and play.
All right, thank you. So the issue of local control is kind of it's been a sticky one lately. We particularly saw it in regards to public health issues on the state level and the county level, but it's, there've been other areas where the state seems to have more of an interest in taking a leading role and perhaps removing a little bit of local control. What are your thoughts about local control and involvement from the state?
Sure. I have been very active with our statewide association, the Nebraska Association of County Officials. And back in 2019, I had the opportunity to serve as president. So that year I spent a great deal of time traveling across the state and meeting with county commissioners and other elected officials in counties of all sizes. And there's that, statement out there: you've seen one county, you've seen one county, and how they all operate is completely different. And while the issues might be, roads and bridges, how they fund and how they maintain is different. And while I had a strong belief in local control, after spending time, with other, elected officials, it even became more important to me. And to have those decisions made by the people closest to the issues is important. And so that's why, as a Lancaster County Commissioner and our statewide association, we fight so hard to retain that and to let the state know that whether they're introducing a new program or an unfunded mandate or whatever they might be sending down, letting them know how it's not going to only impact Lancaster County and Douglas County, because they do hear from us a lot, but how it's going to affect Box Butte and how it's going to affect Red Willow. So those kind of local control issues are always in the back of my mind and is an issue that I bring forth quite frequently because I testify in front of the legislature, probably 3 or 4 times each session.
Well, in terms of questions, we could spend some time on. This next one might be a little bit longer for you. How do you prioritize and meet the growing infrastructure needs of Lancaster County? There's a lot going on here.
There is a lot going on, and when we talk infrastructure, it's a little bit broader, but let's focus first on roads and bridges. The backlog of projects we are currently facing, we didn't get here overnight. The majority of our bridges were built in the 1940s as WPA projects and were intended to last about 50 years. Well, that would have been 1990, and guess where we are now? In 2022. So it is a very complex problem that's going to entail finding new and additional sources of revenue to address that backlog. Right now, we are studying the federal infrastructure package that was recently passed. Some great opportunities there with regards to funding larger projects that we might be facing, whether it's a road project or a bridge project. So that's a great new resource available to us. We're also working with the state. The governor has some funding that's set aside not only for road projects that have a direct economic development impact, and I can talk about Monolith and Hallam as soon as I finish this thought, but encouraging counties to partner with other adjoining counties on road and bridge projects specifically, because these issues just don't stop at the Lancaster County, Gage County line. And so encouraging counties to work together to gain some efficiencies there. And when I talk about the final funding source, public-private partnerships, and I want to use Monolith as an example. That is a large industrial clean energy or clean industrial facility right there in Hallam in our district. And we came together, the city, the county, the city of Hallam had a road that they needed to be paved. And so a segment of the road. So we worked together, the county, the state, and Monolith also contributed. So we were able to pave that very expensive segment of road for a fraction of what it would have normally cost our Lancaster County taxpayers. So a great example of that.
Okay, and you mentioned that infrastructure was broader than bridges and roads. Is there any other elements that you'd like to address?
Right. One of the things that was highlighted during the pandemic was the ability for people to work from home, do schooling from home, and the importance of high quality, high speed internet to those more rural parts of Lancaster County. And so we have set aside $10 million from our ARPA funds to address that need. And so working with local providers, internet providers, we are on target to finish this project within 18 months. And I think that's a really aggressive timeline, but we know the need is there. So a second type of infrastructure. And then it's also water. We are working with Rural Water One to fund a project to improve water quantity and water quality, and also to replace some of our culverts across Lancaster County. And that improves water flows after heavy rain events and helps prevent flooding. So just those are two others. And then finally, air service. When employers or industries or companies are looking to relocate or expand in Lincoln and Lancaster County, high quality air service, convenient air service is important. And so again, we've utilized some of our ARPA funds in conjunction with the city to help recruit new carriers to this community.
Okay, Deb, you said the magic word for Kent, which was water. So I was gonna see,
Okay.
Kent always cares about water issues. I thought I'd double check and see if you had any specific water follow-up question, Kent. You don't have to.
Yeah, well, I kind of, when Deb just spoke, I just, this hit me. Is there any thought of the county sort of cooperating, or whatever word you'd want to use, with the city about the new, the need for a new water supply for Lincoln in the next 50 years or 40 years? Because I would suspect some of that at that point would be necessary for a county as well.
I agree with you. And remember, 90% of Lancaster County residents live in the city of Lincoln. So issues that are important to Lincoln are also important to Lancaster County. And yes, having a second water source is important in our long-term planning, and it would be important for the county to be part of those discussions. I agree.
Question number 4. Some of the stickiest issues that you've ended up having to deal with at the county level involve balancing, the wishes and the rights of property owners, along with the demands of commercial development, including renewable energy generation, solar farms, wind.
Right.
So how do you navigate those issues? What are your thoughts on that, striking that right balance?
Well, and you mentioned 2 of the most recent ones, but over my career, in addition to confined animal feeding operations and solar farms and wind energy, we've also had motocross tracks and development issues. So it's something that is probably the most intense and complicated and personally stressful for me, just because we work so hard to make that right decision. And it really is a balance between, private property rights and what someone has the right to do with their own property, and then balancing the needs of the neighbors surrounding them. And so, how I tackle that is, first of all, going out on site, getting a visual, meeting with the neighbors, answering emails, doing my own research, making those calls, and relying on the data provided by, whether it's our planning department or our health department or building and safety, really the experts in the field. And then, you just got to sit down and review all those notes and listen intently at the public hearing, because the decisions we make directly impact those residents. And so it really is a balancing act. You use the exact right word. And there's a little or a lot of negotiation that comes in. Maybe we can make a change here to make it more agreeable to the neighbors. Maybe we can make it a change here, might be a little bit more challenge to the applicant, but trying to find that balance is what we aim for.
All right. Well, time-wise, Deb, you're being very efficient with us, which is always grateful for that. So we've got a couple other questions plus any follow-ups. But we've talked about a number of the key issues, but what are some of the top priorities that you have that we haven't discussed?
Well, the number one thing, because I am out going door to door talking to voters now, is property taxes. And it's an issue that the state legislature is dealing with, and something that we are dealing with locally. It is my aim to, lower the property tax levy every year. We have been successful the majority of the time, but that is offset by the, skyrocketing the real estate values that we are seeing in this tight housing market. So as we begin budget hearings this, next month in April, we'll begin those. It's really drilling into the budget requests from our elected officials and department directors, making sure that we are being, very nimble and keeping a tight line on those expenses. My personal priority for this coming year is no new FTEs, not to add employees, because the salary cost for Lancaster County is probably 75 to 80% of the entire budget. So working to continue to do great work with the staff we have. And since we're talking about budget, I do want your viewers to know that every single dollar Lancaster County spends can be easily tracked on our county website. If you go to lancaster.ne.gov and click on budget and fiscal, you will see each department and elected officials office broken down to the penny, whether it's salaries or a capital project or a new program or whatever. You can find that all on our website. And during the public hearings, we are looking at the exact same information that someone sitting out at 56th and Holdridge can be looking at their house. So it's something that we've just instituted in the past 3 years. And I think it just speaks really highly of the transparency we want to have in local government.
All right. Well, I have one final question that needs to be the last question. So I will check and see if Robin or Kent have any other questions for Deb. Kent's raising his hand, of course.
As always. And this may be not the greatest question in the world because I don't have any guess what the answer might be. But I look at, you've got planning and the health department and these areas where it's city, county, sort of, I don't know if consolidation is the right word, but work together. Are there other places could do that? It would seem to me that's a way to make government more efficient by at least eliminating some duplication. Do you see other places that could be done? Right.
We have 6 joint departments, so there's already a lot of efficiency in addition to the ones you mentioned. Health and planning, purchasing is a joint department, human resources is a joint department, the parks department, and library is the last one. So there's a lot of efficiencies already existing there, but is there opportunity for more? Of course. We have a city clerk's office and a county clerk's office that are both, maintaining records for the bodies. There's some opportunity for consolidation there. City attorney, county attorney, possibly there, but we have to make sure because everything that the county does is outlined in state statute. So when we're talking about other elected officials and their obligations as outlined in state law, we have to make sure that we're continuing to follow those.
Well, that was an interesting question, Kent.
Dave, I do have a question too, if you have time.
Oh, sure, yes.
Deb, are there other opportunities kind of like Monolith where, maybe it doesn't work to put that company in Lincoln, but down there by that bypass that maybe businesses could work with the county on getting something done?
Robin, I'm glad you asked that question because we are nearing completion of the largest infrastructure project in the history of Lancaster County. And of course, that's the South Beltway. And wonderful opportunities there for additional commercial and industrial uses along those interchanges. And that's something that we will continue to work with on our planning department to make sure that the zoning is there in a smart and structured and well-planned way. So we have the opportunity for growth all the way from, Highway 33 all the way around to I-80. It's just going to be a wonderful opportunity for growth in this community and also safety. I'm someone who travels Highway 2 multiple times a day, and it'll be nice to get those trucks off and have that corridor be a little bit safer.
Quick follow-up to that. Do you think that will, be able to spur enough development that it might have some impact on the tax base and government operations from that sense.
Right, yeah, it definitely can't. I don't know how much time you spend traveling like Saltillo or Roca Road or Yankee Hill Road. The houses are just sprouting up, and particularly development around the new Standing Bear High School. And so I think we are definitely just going to see that continued growth of South Lincoln all the way up to that Beltway, and then also throw in the growth of the city of Hickman. They are one of the, if not the fastest growing community in the state per capita. So a lot to be proud of in Hickman. And yes, there will certainly be positive property tax outcomes as our community grows.
All right, well, Deb, we're down to our last question, which is, what have we not asked you that you wish we would have?
Okay. One of the things that we are dealing with right now as we begin our budget discussions are the impacts of the salary increases at the state. The state gave their corrections workers a significant salary increase, and so accordingly, we adjusted our corrections workers' salaries and our sheriff's salaries as well. I'm a strong supporter of law enforcement, and I think, which includes, in my mind, our corrections workers. So making sure that we are recruiting and retaining quality employees in those areas. And in talking about salary increases, this was the year that salary adjustments were made for fellow elected officials. That's done once every 4 years. And while I did support the salary increases for fellow elected officials, I voted against the proposal because I felt that the adjustment for county commissioners was too high. So I went on record as opposing a salary increase for the Lancaster County Board. And I think you guys asked great questions, great discussion, talked about some things I thought we'd talk about and some things that we didn't. And so I hope that your viewers had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about me. And I hope my passion for the work that we do as county commissioners shows, and it would mean a great deal to me for your voters to have their vote on May 10th or by mail if they are voting early.
All right, well, Deb, thank you again for joining us. Robin, did you have anything else? I just saw you unmuted.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for coming.
Oh, okay. So with that, Deb, we will conclude our interview and we'll end this meeting, but we are very appreciative of both your service and your time that you spent with us today answering questions for us and our readers. So thank you and have a great weekend.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, thanks a bunch.
Thank
Bye.